President and CEO of Regina Exhibition Association Limited, Tim Reid. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Sabine. Thanks for having me.
Maybe let's get right into it. Canada's Farm Show. We saw the unfortunate announcement, obviously, of having to cancel for 2020. But before we get into that, maybe explain the history. Well, let's not explain the history. That might be a long show. But can you talk a little bit about what Farm Show is all about?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what's so important is to realize that the Exhibition Association is 136 years young. And we started as an agricultural society. Long before I think we even had the term agricultural society, we started as a group of farmers and ranchers and community leaders that wanted to make it through the season and have an opportunity to share learnings and to exchange goods. And 136 years later, we're this 100-acre campus that's completely built out, but still has agriculture at the heart of everything we do. And celebrating the fact that we've now completed 42 farm shows, and we're going into year 43. COVID-19 was tough because this has been so much a part of who we are and what our identity has been, that losing Farm Show this year because of the need for public safety above all else didn't mean that didn't hurt, and it wasn't difficult on our team.
You touched on it just there right now, but what exactly did it mean for real to have to cancel Canada's Farm Show this year?
Well, I think when you're an organization that's produced this for 42 years, we've seen a lot of things in almost half a century. And to previous CEOs and previous leaders of Farm Show, they found a way to make this happen. And probably speaks to the gravity of the situation that is COVID-19 and how it's affected not only the North American and Canadian economy, but really the globe. It is a show that depends upon world travel. It depends upon a global audience. And unfortunately, COVID-19 just made those things impossible. And so June this year felt different for us. Rightfully so. I just hope it gets back on track in the future.
Here's hoping, and I think many of us are hoping that everything goes back to, even if it's a new normal, that we can see Canada's Farm Show 2021. Back in December, there was an announcement made of some big changes for Canada's Farm Show. First and foremost, we took the progress out of it.
We did.
If we move into Canada's Farm Show 2021, what would you say are some new and exciting things that we can expect to see?
I think if COVID-19 has done anything, it's probably just placed emphasis on the fact that the decisions that we made last December got us pointed in the right way. The whole purpose of the shift of the show was to force the show to be indoors, force the show to play in a more digital space, force the show to connect globally, not necessarily in person, but using technology. And so the concept of the launch pad, the concept of the speaker series that were introduced, all of that allow us to engage in a virtual space. And so in many ways, we're thankful for the fact that we've had this reprieve from a show, but we also recognize that the direction that we set last December was absolutely right, because we will not travel the way that we do 6 months ago, and we will not engage quite the same way, but we still need commerce, trade, and frankly, agriculture in Canada still needs to feed the world.
For sure. Now, you touched on the launch pad. We've talked about the speaker series a little as well. There are a few other changes that people can expect to see. The one ticket for all days. What were the reason for some of those changes? I mean, obviously, we didn't know that a pandemic was coming, but it kind of, I don't want to say it just worked out right, but it kind of did. What were the reason for some of those changes?
Well, what we recognized with Farm Show is if we wanted it to exist for the next 50 years, we needed to change that. And we also realized that we weren't the experts. We're great at delivering trade shows and large gatherings. And so we brought together a committee of leaders, of exhibitors, of key producers that engage in our show. And they helped us define this path that we're going to go to. One of the components that we recognized was a June show is never easy because you could be in the middle of seeding or spraying, depending on whether the weather is working in the way you want it to. But I think what we recognized was this is really about a business-to-business show. Right. And as much as we want consumers to come and to learn and to connect with agriculture, this is about commerce. This is about bringing qualified buyers to qualified manufacturers and bringing them not only regionally, but also globally. And so the concept of use your ticket, get in anytime you want, allowed our producers, allowed our industry leaders to come and go as they pleased, and allowed them to connect often.
For sure. I feel like I already know the answer to this, but what would you say you're looking forward to the most when it comes to Canada's Farm Show 2021?
Well, I think just getting it back on track.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. It's so much part of the identity of who we are as an exhibition association. But I think the one piece that I'm really excited about is the opportunity that the launch pad will have given the fact that we've all now had 6 or 8 months of testing ourselves in Zoom calls, in online marketplaces, or e-commerce activities that we never celebrated in the past. I think the Launchpad will give us an incredible opportunity to connect local producers, local manufacturers with a global audience, and that's exactly what we wanted.
For sure. And I mean, we're kind of sitting in that virtual space now with Farm Show TV, which is something we kind of decided, since we can't do Canada's Farm Show 2020, let's do Canada's Farm Show TV. What would you say you're looking forward to when it comes to Farm Show TV?
I think the great thing about Farm Show TV is connecting agricultural leaders in a virtual space. We don't always have the ability to go to a speaker or a luncheon, but we do all have time in our days to connect with valuable information when it makes sense. And so what I love about this concept is we're going to bring agricultural leaders to a stage, and we're going to connect them with the audience whenever that audience has free time. And so I think there's an education piece to this, there's a connection and a collaboration piece, and a networking component to it that I think will make our industry and our show more innovative in the future.
Well, there you have it. I know I'm looking forward to keeping Farm Show TV going, and I know this isn't your last time you're going to be on the show, so thank you for being here.
Thanks for the opportunity, Sabine.
All right.